On today's episode of The Back of the Bird, we sit down with JP Kealey, former NLL lacrosse player and current member of the NASCAR Pit Crew. A really cool story, kind of a different interview for us, but really appreciate JP coming on. I think folks are really going to like it. Also have a hilarious prank story from Dan and Paul Dawson, and chat about some NLL news and notes, and just chop it up like always. Let's get right into it. Episode 133 of The Back of the Bird.
Take your first ride and run, baby, run. If you want a sign, this is it. You're mad, you're magic, you're as hot as a gun. You wanna play with fire, consider this. You'll chase the thrill if it's worth the hit, 'cause you never ever wanna work for it. Take your first ride and run, baby, run. You got a spine of steel and a...
All right, we're back. Episode 133, Back of the Bird, brought to you by Cottage Springs. They work. I tried them on the weekend. Confirmed they function well. They had let me tell you, dove into these vodka waters made with real juice. They were a hit. Showed up to a buddy of mine, his girlfriend's 30th birthday, après ski themed. Showed up with 12 cases. He's got a little pond in his backyard, like just like a small garden pond. It was frozen over. We put all of the springs in it. Looked sick. Everybody dove in, and by the end of it, you could definitely see it was, like I said to you guys before we jumped on this call, it looked like an episode of Call of Duty Zombies with people just kind of getting through it. But yeah, get out there and grab your Cottage Springs, because guess what? They're going to stay on your shelves because they're a good Canadian product, unlike all this other U.S. bullshit that's gone. No offense, we're not going to get political because we've got American listeners too. But Pauly, what's going on, buddy?
What is going on? Nothing. Yeah, man, nothing. Just got a little bye week coming up here. Last bye week of the season, and we get into grind mode. 12 weeks in a row, which is would be good, man. But yeah, it's been a weird start to the season. Obviously a good start, but weird with the game on, game off, game on, game off. But I got a funny. We'll get into it after. I know we're gonna go short, but I got a funny prank story for my brother. I was just talking to him. I got me and Dangerous are back in the weight room together. Yeah, he's back. He's back in the weight room. So it's like the good old days.
Was he taking time off from working out, or just with you?
No, he was still working out. Just like we kind of stopped working out together once he went to Toronto, and then because he was working out of the track, and obviously it wasn't like we worked out together forever, right? And then
Yeah.
so yeah, with the boys are back together, the good old days. So we can we got to bridge the gap and just be closer as siblings. So it's nice. But
When did he start working out with you? As soon as Toronto started turning it around, did they take some tips from you here, or what?
yeah, I don't know. No, yeah, like last 3 weeks, we're starting off slow, like a Tinder date. We're just doing one time a week right now, and then we'll see how things go. Maybe up to 2 times. So we'll see.
Yeah, you got to feel it out. You got to see if he's got some sort of an ulterior motive.
Yeah,
So is he making a comeback?
potentially.
Maybe.
Dan's back.
You heard it here first. Breaking news. This is the social clip of the week.
Maybe you see us on a summer ball team together. Who knows?
Oh,
Wow, okay.
There's not enough cash in Snake Island.
You guys are going to dual unretire for the president. Yeah. Dual unretire for summer ball.
Dan's going to start training to play 9 games in 8 days here. So.
Yeah.
What's going on with were you done there, Pauly? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm done.
Look at all that fucking hair right in my face. That's unbelievable. What about you, Don?
I'm getting grays in the mustache, boys. Fuck.
You'd rather have gray than just skin.
I know.
I'm good. A really tough one for us on Saturday. It's the margins are really thin in this league right now, and it's tough. You got to win close games, and we just didn't make enough plays. So we are also off this coming weekend, so looking forward to that. And then we have a 2-city doubleheader after that, a Friday Vegas, Sunday Calgary. and then the next Friday in Denver. So we got a bit of a bear, but we got 2 weeks to get ready for it. And kind of a theme of today's episode: spending some more time with your buddies, always a good thing. So
Name a better thing.
it's nice and a really fun, very cool interview today. Very different than really anything we've done. And I'm excited for everyone to listen to it.
Yeah. So I mean, good little segue. We got JP Kealey on. Who's former NLLer, went to Robert Morris, played there, and now he works as a rear tire changer for NASCAR. So you're gonna want to listen to this one. It's a lot of fun. A lot of questions we had. I felt like a little bit of a fanboy here because it was like there's just so much I didn't know that I wanted to find out. But yeah, if you're maybe a D1 player listening to this right now, you could have a possible career shift in mindset about your career after hearing this. So
If you're like a D midier, especially, like, go for it.
Yeah,
Hey, soft guy. Hey, soft guy. Some guy's putting 700 pounds on his back. Yeah, you can get a NASCAR.
Did you see that video?
Oh, dude, I don't even. Just a freak, goddamn gorilla, man.
That guy's at Grand Canyon University.
Yeah,
700-pound squat.
Is that D3 or is it club?
That's club.
So I would imagine club isn't exactly approaching piss tests with the same sort of maybe integrity that a D1 program would, because that guy is a truck.
Yeah. Fun fact, Grand Canyon has produced NLL players. Cam Wingreniuk went there, and Dean Farrell went to Grand Canyon. So,
interesting.
There you go. Yep.
That is an absolute from the clouds fun fact for Johnny. What else do we have going on this week? I mean, do we want to just throw it over to the interview now? Give the people what they want?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think so. This interview is brought to you by PO Athletic. PO Athletic is skincare for athletes. They're a new partner of Back to the Bird. We're really excited about this partnership going forward. They have several great products: exfoliating cleanser, muscle recovery gel, athlete wipes, and a Power Stone natural deodorant. You can buy them individually. You can buy them as a box. And we have a code with them, BOTB10. BOTB10 gets you 10% off. And yeah, it's a great product. We're really excited for this partnership going forward and help us and help PO Athletic and, hopefully put some great products for the Back to the Bird listeners as well. So really excited about that. And without further ado, let's kick it over to JP Kealey. All right, this Ottawa native played for the New England Black Wolves and Buffalo Bandits before beginning a career in NASCAR as a member of the Pit Crew. He played college lacrosse at Robert Morris and now serves as the rear tire changer for NASCAR's 16 car. Welcome to the Back of the Bird, JP Kealey.
Thanks for having me, boys. Pumped to be here.
This is awesome, man. I mean, obviously one of the more unique stories in lacrosse. So I think we're definitely excited to kind of hear how all this went down. I forget who we had on before that kind of hinted at the story for us, but we'll get to it eventually. But we kind of want to wind the clock back a little bit to the beginning, man. How did you get into lacrosse, and when did you pick up a stick?
So my dad and all of his brothers, they grew up playing in the PN just as I did. So I came from a lacrosse family, so I had a stick in my hand since I was 3 years old, and kind of never looked back. There's always had one since the time I was little. So it's more a family thing now, and even my dad's his older brother. His daughter now has kids, and they're playing in the PN2. So now we got 3 generations coming through the PN Knights minor lacrosse, which is pretty cool.
That's unreal. Well, did you after minor? Did you play junior B or go right to junior A, or how'd that work out for you?
So I was playing. I played mostly junior B in the PN, and then my second last year junior, I went to Mississauga. When they had junior A, and I played junior A there for a year. And then after that, I was like, I'm just going to go back home and play in the PN for my last year. So I played my last year junior in the PN. I had a deal to go to Coquitlam to play junior A at the end of the junior B season, but I ended up getting hurt and lost that opportunity, unfortunately.
Who was in Mississauga still back then?
I played with Anthony Jokum,
Okay,
who
yeah, yeah.
played NL. So him. I'm trying to think of anybody else on
Who
that
was
team.
running it?
Jake Henhawk. I actually lived in Six
Okay.
Nations with Jake Henhawk. I lived on the res there my whole summer.
And played in Mississauga.
Yeah, I
What,
played.
dude? What a summer that would have been. Holy
It
shit!
was. I actually spent a lot of time in Burlington that summer because I had good boys with Luke Magnan and Ryan Callahan from Burlington was on the team. So I
Okay.
stayed there a lot, and he'd pick me up and take me to games, practices, that kind of stuff.
Dude, that's hilarious. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So how does I mean obviously you just hinted at it from Robert Morris, but how does the whole recruiting process work there? I imagine some sort of an influence from our buddy Kyle Buchanan from with being
Yeah.
an Ottawa guy as well.
My recruiting process was kind of wild. I mean, we didn't really have like auto capitals at the time, and the only people like that got recruited like would go play edge. And in Ottawa at that time, the only guys that played Division One was Jeff Zwicky and Kyle Buchanan. And so from our area, there was really like those were the only two I really had to look up to. Oh, I lost the lights here, boys. See if I can shake my hand, get some movement. You guys still see me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
we very good.
Is it? This is good. All right. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really know any of like the NCAA rules or like what kind of stuff you had to do in terms of like classes or any of that. And like I said, there was only two guys from our hometown that had done that whole Division One thing. So um, I didn't go to many like recruiting camps or any of that kind of stuff. And that's all I wanted to do really was play Division lacrosse. It was a dream of mine, and uh, yeah, I tried to go to. I didn't have any little really looks. I played high school lacrosse. Tried to go to the Hill Academy, and they actually told me a week before I was supposed to go there that they didn't think I was good enough, and they didn't ended up going a different direction. And that fall, I went to the turkey shoot, won MVP of the tournament, and then from there, that's where I got every single one of my Division One offers was just from that one tournament.
So were there some other schools after that then as well?
Yeah, so I talked to Robert Morris, I talked to Sienna, I talked to Detroit Mercy. Um, yes. I'm trying to think. Those were the main three that I was looking at. Like those are the schools that I visited. I'm trying to think what other Division One schools. I was considering RIT too. That was the only school that wasn't Division One that I was thinking about going to. But I mean, I mean, Bucky was my favorite player growing up. Like me and my brother watched him our whole lives. I played with Bucky's younger brother Connor. He's a year older than me. I mean, we got a signed picture of Bucky in my family kitchen. It's still there. So it was a pretty easy decision to go to Robert Morris as soon as they were interested. I mean, that was my number one. So
unreal. I mean, and then talk to us about was it a bit of an eye opener once you get on campus there, like a little bit of a change and trying to learn field lacrosse and then also balance that whole school thing that rolls with it?
yeah, I mean, so going back to like the whole recruiting process, like I didn't know anything about like NCAA clearinghouse or any of that sort of stuff. So I went to Robert Morris and I was missing one like math credit from high school. Because again, I just went to my local high school and I wasn't really told what class I had to take. So I had to actually sit out my first year. Like wasn't allowed to practice or anything. So I was on campus and I was like practicing on my own, working out on my own. Like I was a part of the team. I was at practice, but I wasn't allowed to like participate. So I'd go watch practice every single day, and then I would go practice on my own, and then I would lift I was allowed to lift like the strength staff there, but I wasn't allowed to do it with the team because of NCAA regulations. And then the following year, I actually got to participate in my first freshman year. And so I think honestly, kind of being there and not being able to play, like really like made like a hunger and a drive. And it was easy to adjust the next year because I'd already gone to school, I'd already taken classes, I'd already done all that kind of stuff. So my freshman year was pretty easy to slide right in and start playing.
Did you like and kind of like thinking that? Do you think that maybe helped you too with like the adjustment to field? Like you're allowed to like you could at least watch your practice and like kind of get to know like the systems before like you're in there jumping in. Do you think like that helped too? Like obviously going, like you say, from like high school Ottawa lacrosse to like major D1 is a huge adjustment. You think like that helped too? Like just being able to like sit back and like digest what everyone's doing before you jumped in there?
For sure, it definitely did. Like when my whole field lacrosse experience was I played like for the Ottawa Nemesis, which was our club team we had, and we did the turkey shoot every year. Like that was it. It was like our only recruiting tournament really. And then I played Ottawa high school lacrosse, and I played midfield and didn't come off the field the entire game. So and then I switched to it. I went to college and they wanted me to play attack. So like I'd never really played attack. So yeah, I mean, it definitely helped a lot, like watching every day and kind of seeing how people operate and all the kinds of things. Like communication is such a big thing, obviously at the highest level, but that was the first time I experienced that in like college. Like everything is communicated, so that was one thing like that I saw immediately and was able to like pick up on for when I got on the field. But like I was used to just playing and no one's really talking. You're just
Yeah,
going out there
you're
and
just taking
playing,
you
right?
get the ball and taking it to the rack, scoring probably 6-7 goals a game. Just like
Yeah.
it's the best.
Yeah, so that definitely helped for sure.
I mean, speaking of kind of, obviously you get to watch and stuff, but you're also probably have a lot of guys as a sounding board because there's a million Canadians that are rolling through that campus. What was it like? I mean, for you guys, I remember playing against you guys, and because there's so many Canadians, it's hard for American schools to like understand the style that's being played or defended or whatnot. How much fun was that? Like just being able to play with those guys and kind of play like almost a little bit of a hybrid style field lacrosse.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I loved it. I got to meet and play with so many guys that are in the NLL now. Like I think we probably have the most in the NLL from like an NCAA school standpoint. So it was awesome, man. We got to kind of just let it hang and play the way that we play and weren't really kind of confined into a box. It was sweet because we had like systems and plays and everything, but like everything was kind of reactionary. So you played off of each other, and it was really kind of made it easy for me to come in and play and not have to like be crazy structured. So that was pretty awesome for sure.
I mean, and then I guess, to come with that, having a bunch of Canadians on the field, there's going to be some fun off of it. What was your memory of hanging with all those guys from Rouet to Magnon I mean, I lived with Luke Laskowitz in Rochester. What were those times like with the boys?
Yeah, I mean, those guys. We had some fun for sure. We had some fun. We worked hard, but we definitely had some fun. There's definitely a story or 12 there for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There's I got the small taste of it I got when I went out with Rouet until 4 a.m, and he had a 7 a.m. accounting exam and forgot to bring his calculator. I think that was kind of a nice little run through of how things would go there. But
Oh yeah.
take us through. I mean, I knew this before too, but Donnie obviously putting the notes together is like, you guys got smoked with the injury bug a few times. What was that like? You know, going through that process, and what did you maybe learn about yourself through dealing with some pretty tough knee injuries?
Honestly, man, it's I've had I've been in a really cool position when I was going through that, and after I've had like a lot of athletes and younger kids reach out about that, and um, I'll get back to where I was like in college, but one of my favorite quotes is "Adversity is an advantage," and I think without going through all of those injuries, I wouldn't be the person I am, the player I was, or where I'm at in my career currently today. So I'm pretty grateful for the experience and the adversities that I faced, but initially, like we were talking about earlier, I came in, had to sit out my first year because of like credits and stuff like that, and then I come in as a freshman, and I do pretty well for myself, and kind of, I got to start every game, and then going into my sophomore year, I thought I was playing the best lacrosse I'd ever played, and tore my ACL literally a week before our first game, which was pretty devastating. And first time around, I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna dig into the sand here. I'm gonna double down on my body. I'm gonna come back bigger, faster, stronger. And I did. I came back. I wasn't cleared to play. I was playing at 4 months even though I wasn't supposed to, and I was fine. And then I got cleared officially at 6 months. Once I got cleared at 6 months, I went back and I was playing in Ocean City. Probably had the best lacrosse game of my life. The game before was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and then just playing on my foot in game two, and it just popped again. I knew right then and there it was torn. Went back and talked to my surgeon, and he thought I was fine. He said everything was structurally fine. Give it 2 weeks, go back out there, and I knew something wasn't okay. Went back out, kept feeling weird stuff, and then found out it was torn. And I couldn't sit out another season. I couldn't do it. So I said, fuck it, I'm playing with this thing. So I had torn meniscus, torn ACL, and I basically like relearned taught myself how to run, how to move without putting my knee in a compromised position. And the leaps and bounds that I made, like working with our PT staff and stuff, like they hooked me up with the guy who helped Ben Roethlisberger with his knee, and I was working with him every day and doing all kinds of cool stuff. And I was like, I felt unreal. I felt fast, and going into the fall, I was killing it. I felt like myself, even with it and being compromised. And played our first game of the season against Penn State. Everything went fine. Second game of the season, we're going into warm-ups. We're just passing the ball around, and I just like feel a rattle of clicks go up my knee, and it just locked, and I couldn't move it. And then I knew I knew I was cooked at that point. So then I ended up getting another knee surgery after that, and that one took me 15 months to come back from. I ended up making the decision at that point that if I wanted to play pro lacrosse, that it was time to leave school, because I didn't think that, in my mind I was like, if I tear it again, I'm done. I'm not going to have another opportunity, and I was like, I'm just going to double down and go after what I want. So I just I'd never played senior lacrosse before because I had lost all those summers because of the knee injuries. I'd lost 2 in a row. So I just trained full time at school, and then I went home. And same thing. I just trained full time to come back, and then went to Langley and was able to play. I think it was 15 or 16 months. I didn't play, and the 6 months prior to that, I was playing with a torn ACL.
Jesus, I didn't realize you were playing with it. That's insane.
Yeah.
Hey, the knee finally just gave up after fucking the first ACL. Like everything was going good, and then it finally just tapped out when it locked up. Like, hey, I'm not going anymore. Just fucking locked up on you.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. Like I said, I wouldn't take any of the experience back. I mean, I was that's the other thing I didn't touch on too, but as lacrosse players, like I'm sure you guys grew up your whole life like playing lacrosse. My entire identity was kind of like attached to being a lacrosse player, and when that was taken away, it was really hard. And it's like one of those injuries that I think is more mental than it is physical. Honestly, there's days where you don't want to get out of bed because you have the best part of your day taken away. You don't get to go to practice with the boys. You don't get to go in the gym with them and do all that kind of stuff. So you're going to rehab, and then got to find ways to get better while they're at practice. Keep your stick in your hand as much as you can. You got to get the extra work in, and yeah, I mean that like I said, that whole experience is really what's allowed me, I think, to be successful today. I don't think I would have been a professional lacrosse player either if that didn't happen. I think it made me a better player, honestly.
We we want to get to the NASCAR stuff later, but I was watching some stuff about you today, and like you're like diving on your knees for your job now. How are your knees now? You feel all right, or you still feel it?
Yeah. I'm my knees are good. I mean, obviously it feels like the skin and stuff is never gonna feel the same, but in terms of like bothering me, it never really bothers me. And my style of changing tires is actually beats your knees up more than most. I like to slide in because it's faster, and so. But yeah, it hasn't affected me at all. I honestly, it's weird. I feel like I've been training my whole life for this job because I think I'm just built for it. My skill set just kind of caters to the stuff we got to do.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
you go to Langley to play senior, and then so how does how does NLL and all that come about? Because I didn't realize you left college and stuff. So then how does like NLL draft, like how does that all
So my buddy James Ray from college, he lived in Langley and he was playing.
beauty?
Yeah,
Fucking
he's
great
been there.
guy. Coached him in
Uh,
junior. He's an awesome guy.
yeah, so he was playing out there and he wanted me to go, and nobody knew when. Like I was never drafted in Ontario to play senior A. No one owned my rights. Like I'd never played. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out to Langley. No one knew who I was. They didn't know who I was. And I remember they had a mock draft. That would have been my draft year. And they did a mock draft for every single player who was going to be drafted. There was like 60 something, and I wasn't any of them. Wasn't one of them. So I went into the year. I didn't really like. I remember actually too. I met Doug Walker, who was the GM at Vancouver at the time. He was the only guy like I was on his radar for some reason. I have no idea why.
Because he's got everyone on his radar. No
Yeah,
offense to you, but it's
yeah,
hilarious. The amount of guys are like, I didn't really talk there except for this one guy, Doug Locker, reached out to me, like American guys, Canadian guys. He must fucking have the biggest phone bill in the world because he must call 1,000 guys before the fucking draft.
Yeah, this is
well,
episode 133 of Back of the Bird. We probably had said Doug Locker's name on like 85 episodes, roughly,
that's
like
hilarious. That's so
give or
funny.
take.
Yeah, but so I remember this is before like the year even started. He like wanted to meet with me for whatever reason, so I go and meet with him, and he's like, "So what are your expectations?" And like again, I hadn't played in forever, but like I wanted, I wanted to get drafted. I wanted to have a year, and I was like, "Fuck it, I want to get 4 points a game." And he's like, "Oh, you should manage your expectations, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff." And I kind of went out. I like shocked myself. I went out and I was having a really good year. I was up there with Corey Small for the first half of the season, like top three in points, like killing it. And then separated my shoulder. My shoulder kept dislocating throughout the season, and I played with it all the way till there was about 5 games left. And then I was like, all right, well, this is my draft year. I'm gonna go home and hopefully try and hide this from as many people as possible and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, I shocked myself. I didn't really think I was capable of the summer I had, and then ended up going from not being projected to get drafted at all to going 10th overall. So I was pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, that's I mean, again, it's a cool story, and part of the reason we do this, man, is to get like stories like this out there, of just that adversity that you kind of went through, right? Like maybe a lot of people that kind of got dealt that double knee injury, like not know, and then that's not even talking about the first year you have to go through, right? With not knowing what credits you needed, and then going through that and working hard enough to get to the point where you're going 10th overall is awesome, man. So that had to have been a great feeling to hear your name called, and kind of, to a certain degree, obviously you want to pursue and play more and play games and stuff like that. But that's got to feel like a pretty good accomplishment hearing your name on that day.
No, no, for sure, man, for sure. It was a culmination of a lot of things. Like I know, I had to overcome a lot to be there, and then there's times like I never thought I would be there. I know my sister always like jokes with me, and she's like, "You're the most unlucky person in the world." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Like all of that shit that happened and everything that I went through, and all of the unlucky stuff that people say have happened to me. Like I think it needed to happen. It was supposed to happen because again, like I'll say it a million times over again, like adversity is an advantage, and I wouldn't have gotten anything if I hadn't have had those shitty things happen to me.
Where was the draft? Were you there? Was it in person, or how'd that go?
Yeah, it was at the track in Oakville. Yeah, so I drove
So
up with my family.
were you like other than Locker? So then before that, you talking to teams like, did you do the combine? Like, did you know you're gonna
No,
go first
so
round?
there wasn't a combine that year. But yeah, I mean, like going into the draft, again, I wasn't really on anyone's radar, and then leading up to the draft, like my phone was blowing up. I thought I was going to go to either Calgary or to New England in the top 10. But yeah, I knew I was going to go. Well, I didn't know, but I mean, I had assumed I was gonna go in the first or early second.
Okay, that's fucking cool, man. That's unreal.
Um, well, I mean, move into kind of like that first year. What was did you find there was a big difference between kind of playing that senior A summer ball and then compare that to the way the NLL's played?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is like my whole life I played on teams where I was the guy. right? So I had the ball and I was an athlete and I could go and do the stuff that I wanted to. And, in Langley, I fortunately like got into that situation where I went there and kind of, again, like no one really knew who I was, but I was playing really well. And it's like, all right, give this kid the ball. Let's get the ball in his stick and let's let him run this thing. So I think that's why I excelled so much there. And then when I got to New England, it was kind of an adjustment because, I wasn't the guy. When I first got there was Crowley and there was Evie, and I played my first game. I had a goal and 2 assists. I thought I played pretty well, and then they didn't play me again for another 4 months. And they told me to go to the ALL at that time, and our ALL team was probably one of the sickest teams of all time. We were coached by Gavin Prout. We had Chad Culp, me, Blaze Reardon, Austin Murphy, Cam Milligan, and so I played there most of the season. When I got there, we were 0-4, and then we went undefeated and won the championship. And I was actually a blast. It sucked not playing, but then I played one other game that year. I played in Georgia. I was actually at Robert Morris. They called me. I was at a Saturday night, probably about 5-6 beers deep at a pregame, Friday night, about to go out to the bar, and I get a call from our GM, and they're like, "Hey, are you able to make it to Georgia tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, lucky for you, I'm in Pittsburgh, but I brought my lacrosse equipment with me on the way down in case I got a call."
No
So I had
way.
my gear with me, and I flew out from Pittsburgh that next day and went and played. And I got a goal in that game too, and then didn't play again the rest of the year.
Oh my God, that's fucking incredible. That's so NLL though.
Yeah.
Produce and then get fucking shut down again though. Make sacrifices, fucking hey, we appreciate you fucking hopping last second, but we're gonna fucking help you right after again.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, but good lesson. Just keep your shit on you. Keep your shit in the trunk, man.
Oh, I mean,
just be ready.
I was watching the games and I knew like we were kind of struggling a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna take my gear with me because there might be a shot.
That's wild.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna start bringing my gear everywhere. You never know. Well, and moving through that, like, so, and then how did you get traded, or did you finish on practice roster so you were able to sign in Buffalo?
So so then I went to New England the next year. I played the start of the year. I played a decent amount, and then I was getting healthy again, and then had a little bit of a disagreement. This is another crazy story. Like, again, there's a lot of like wild stuff that people don't know. So this is a crazy story, but so I ended up getting like released from New England immediately that same night. I got a call so Jacob Rouet played on Colorado. He's one of my best friends. So I get a call first from San Diego, from Pat Merrill, and he's like, "Hey, that was Austin Stats got hurt. He tore his ACL." And they're like, "Hey, we really want you to come. We're going to put you on active roster. You're going to play next weekend. We're playing Colorado." And I'm like, "All right, cool, I'm in." So then, like, literally 30 minutes later, I get a call from Colorado, and they're like, "Hey, we need a lefty." Somebody else got hurt. They're like, "Hey, we need a lefty. We're going to put you on active roster. You're going to play next weekend." And I was like, "Well, sorry, I already committed to San Diego." And they're like, "You didn't?" They're like, "Have you signed anything yet?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Well, just hear us out. Hear us out. We want you, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "I can't do that. I gave my word." So, and this is also because that it was Saturday night and Monday was the freeze, so you couldn't sign after that anywhere else. So that's why it was so urgent. So then Pat Merrill's supposed to send me a contract the next day. I don't hear anything from him, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" I'm freaking out. I knew he had a flight back from San Diego to Toronto. So then I get a text at like 2 a.m. and it's like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry. I have bad news." And I'm like, "Oh shit, here we go." So calls me and he's like, "Hey, while I was on the flight, because again, there's the roster freeze. They signed Joe Walters instead of me." So immediately I knew it was that day, it was the freeze. I call Colorado back and I'm like, "Hey, do you guys still got a spot for me?" And they're like, "Sorry, you turned us down, so we signed somebody else." And then, yeah, so it was unbelievable.
Is it? And so, I mean, the Merrills are out to get you. You get told a week before the Hill Academy you're not good enough, and then he honey dicks you on the flight home from San Diego. That's That's not right. That's not right. So then I guess you talked to Buffalo after that. Is that how that happened?
No, so then I mean, well, we're really getting into everything here. So then
Okay.
I played for the Axemen that next summer. I wanted to play at home. I didn't want to go to Langley, so I was getting interest from Buffalo and Rochester, and Rochester really wanted me. I committed to them, and then like I'd always wanted to play in Buffalo, and I was getting a like push from Chugger to go there, and I was like, I've already committed to Rochester, and so I kept my word. I always keep my word. Because I was talking to Dan, I was actually talking to Dan on the phone from Rochester, and I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna flip and go to Buffalo, and he got all mad, and he's like, no, we want you here, blah blah. So I don't. So I go to Rochester. I thought I had a pretty good camp. I know you were actually
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Got in a car accident
Yeah,
before.
man. Okay, yes, yeah. Fuck. Again,
Holy
yo,
fuck!
dude, talk about the
Bro,
worst luck. This guy got in a fucking car accident on the way to the
literally,
like
literally,
hitchhiked over to the fucking game, man. His car's just
yeah.
in the middle of the road. Fucking scrambled.
Total, absolutely total. Uh, yeah, it was like 30 seconds from the rink. Like you could see the rink from where I got in the
Yeah.
car accident.
Oh,
But
dude, I
anyway,
totally forgot about that. That's fucking hilarious.
so so then I go to Rochester. They end up, I don't know. I thought I had a good camp, and I didn't agree with the decision, but it was whatever. They released me, and then Buffalo immediately called me, and I'm like, hey man, I made the wrong decision. I'm sorry. And they're like, no, you're all good. And then so I signed in Buffalo, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, I playing in Buffalo was the best year of my career. Like I learned the most I had ever learned in my entire career. I had the most fun. The professionalism in that organization is top notch. The guys like when I played there, I was like, this is how the NLL is supposed to be. I was like, this is it. And so, it's unfortunate that I really felt like I was kind of coming into my own. I was really excited for the future, and COVID kind of derailed that, and then the whole NASCAR thing happened. But once I got to Buffalo, I was like, I was really really happy, and like again the coaching staff, like Johnny T, like they're so smart, and he always took his time to help me out and to teach me, and even the boys like Dane and Josh and like everybody, they all like helped me and made me. I felt like in the time I spent there, I became a better lacrosse player than I had ever had in my entire life.
Dude, I
Well,
it's funny,
yeah.
man. Like now I was thinking like actually when we brought your name up, I'm like, dude, I'm obviously my memory's terrible. I'm like, dude, but I couldn't remember if it was new Roch or old Roch. And then I couldn't remember if it was during the season when you played, but now you bring up like the car accident. And I remember like I was talking to Dan and then I can't remember who it was between, but I was kind of like, yeah, man, this guy had a good camp. I'm like, fucking car gets wrecked, still shows up, like leaves his car, and they're like, yeah, I don't think we're. I'm like, dude, you gotta like give this guy a shot just based on the fucking car accident, him like still showing up and fucking be able to
Yeah.
play.
The
And then
the worst
again,
the wor- Sorry, go ahead. Sorry to
no,
cut
no,
you off.
no, you're good.
The worst part of that too, I got the call. I was pulling into my buddy's dad's funeral, and Dan Carey calls me in the car with my dad. I'm like, of all the fucking times I get this call right now, because as soon as I saw the name on the phone, I'm like, holy fuck, here we go.
Yeah,
Oh,
fuck,
uh,
dude.
yeah. Trust me. I saw that name pop up on my phone a mere months ago and got the same call. So
Yeah, I had a. Hey, we all. There's three guys on this pod that had a call with him. Me and
Yeah.
Danny were best friends to not so good friends as well. So shit happens.
Hey, you ended up in a good spot though. You ended up in a good spot.
No, hey, and I got to experience Banditland, so it all worked out, and I got to experience Colorado. So yeah, no, it's like you say, man, fucking kind of like the same kind of mantra you live by. You could feel sorry for yourself or fucking pull up your socks, put your work boots on, and fucking prove people wrong, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, it's again life of an athlete, and sometimes shit's not gonna go your way. But so COVID derails like Buffalo, and then is that when you make the transition?
No, so like I had fully intended on playing lacrosse. Like even with like Buffalo. So we had that year. I was still signed with them, and then that full season got canceled, and then there was the next year, and we were like everyone's gearing up for that. So it's kind of in the process of gearing up for that, and I still have my stick in my hand every day. I'm still training, getting ready to go play. Like the season coming up in a couple months. I think it was probably like 6-7 months away. So there's still some time. And then I was watching Formula One Drive to Survive, of all things. There was an episode on pit crews, and the pit crews in Formula One are totally different than us. Like, it's all stationary. There's like 20 of them. There's not a lot of movement. But I was watching that, and I was like, I'm pretty sure like NASCAR pit crews have like NFL players and stuff like that do it. So I Googled it, and I saw that they did. And then I was in a Bobby Mo Lacrosse group chat as a joke. I said, I think I'm going to retire from lacrosse and be a NASCAR pit crew guy. And it was with Luke Magnin, Jacob Rouet, and Michael Seidel. And then, so after that, I see this guy who used to be a professional hockey player from Nanaimo. And he played for Wilkes-Barre Scranton. He's my coach now. His name's Sean Pete. And so I saw that he was a coach. So I reached out to him, and then I texted back and go, hey, guess what, fellas? I just got a tryout in less than 24 hours of discovering this thing. And they're like, no way, no way. And I'm like, no, I might actually go down and check it out. He wants me to come try out. So I was like, not really, I was like kind of serious, but not serious. I was just like, my whole life has been like lacrosse. Like, that's all I wanted to do. But it's like, oh, I'll go check this thing out. Like, let's go check it out. So, in my mind, I'm still thinking I'm going to play lacrosse, right? I go down there and, I do a workout. They run me through a couple of like different positions and, all that kind of stuff. And while I was there, like, I was like, damn, this is kind of cool. And, I just started thinking to myself, I'm like, am I going to do this? And then I had a conversation with the coaches after like my little tryout or whatever, and they said they talked to a bunch of guys and they were really impressed with me, and they were going to get back to me about like if they wanted me or whatever. So I go out to my car and I'm like driving away. Literally 10 minutes, get a call, and it was Sean Pete, the coach. He's like, hey man, I really think you should do this. He goes, I know you still want to play lacrosse, but I really think you're going to be good at this. He goes, I think it's going to be the best decision you ever made. And like at that point, like up to that point in my life, it's like lacrosse was always my identity. But what I realized, especially going through those injuries, it's like lacrosse was what I had tied, like it was my way to express myself. It was like a vessel for me. And I truly believe that like whatever I had set my mind to that I could do. And there was something that I was in my brain that was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. If I don't do this, I may regret it for the rest of my life. And it's also an opportunity for you to prove to yourself that you're so much more than just a game of lacrosse, and that you can go and do great things in whatever avenue you decide to do. So literally on the phone with them, I just went, fuck it, I'm in. Let's do it. And then I texted Chugger the next day, and I was like, hey man, I'm not sure what the plans are moving forward, but I'm going to retire. So I'm done.
What did Chug say?
He asked me what he was like. I just told him I had like a really good opportunity and blah blah blah, and he was like, that's awesome, and he just wanted to know what it was. So I told him it was NASCAR, and that's what I mean. Like Buffalo is such a like first class organization. Like they sent me my jersey like framed and everything. Like they're
Chug's
awesome.
super chill too. He's probably like, NASCAR. Fuck, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, but it started off as a joke. So,
dude, that's fucking sick, man. That's a sick story.
The fuck it is a really cool. That's a cool text to send.
Yeah,
like fuck it, I'm in. Let's go.
Talking to you think talking to that coach and him being like an ex pro hockey player helped you too? Because it's not just like some fucking grease monkey that's like live and die by you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
by NASCAR, the guy like he played semi-pro sports like we do too, and then he's like, fuck, like I've made the transition. You think that fucking helped too?
For sure. I mean, and I had like really good conversations with a lot of the guys there too. Like they're almost, I'd say probably 95% of the guys that are pit crew athletes, like we're never NASCAR fans. All of us are athletes. Like, so I got to meet so many cool people, and even now I like meeting so many cool guys, but I had conversation with guys and like hear their stories while I'm there. And like my first year, my front tire changer was the starting cornerback for the Denver Broncos when they won the Super Bowl. Like we got guys that played for the Steelers. We got, guys who, ACC champion wrestlers who've been in Olympic trials. Like we've got like all these crazy athletes from like different backgrounds and stuff. So it's cool to hear like everyone's stories and how they got into the sport because it's all different. And so yeah, I mean, it was a really cool experience, but definitely like having Sean there as another Canadian guy and kind of someone to relate to. And he's from Nanaimo. He watched like the Victoria Shamrocks. I knew about the Date brothers, and so we connected in that aspect. So he definitely made the transition a lot easier. So yeah, that helped for sure.
That's fucking super cool. Cause like, dude, I mean, I don't know NASCAR Formula One at all, but like, I would have thought all those guys kind of like same with you. Like, I thought you would have grown up kind of like in cars, like that's like a background of yours. Like, that's also got to kind of make the transition a little easier too. Like you say, like we identify ourselves as like lacrosse player athletes, but then you move to NASCAR, which is still like essentially a team sport. But now you're in this pit crew, and it's also just a bunch of different sport guys. You're still part of a team, which like, yeah, you lose lacrosse, but you're like, dude, I'm going back into like a team environment with a bunch of different athletes, which like I would think would be fucking super cool and also help as well to kind of make that transition out of lacrosse even easier.
No, for sure. I mean, it's pretty awesome gig. Like I almost feels like going back to playing college lacrosse because like I just go to the shop, we work out as a team, we watch film as a team, we practice, and then you go home. Like that's it. Like I just basically play with my friends all day. You know, sounds kind of stupid, but like we just run around and work out and do pit stops and watch film. Like that's it. So it's pretty. It was a pretty smooth transition for sure.
Fucking wicked, man.
Is there?
We go, let
Go
me.
ahead. You go ahead.
I just had a bunch of questions. I think we all do about NASCAR. So you're kind of describing the team environment with the pit crew. What's it like with the driver? Is the driver kind of like one of the boys, or is it kind of a different type of relationship? How does that kind of go?
I think it's different for every team, honestly. And like I know some drivers are like a little stuck up. The guys that we have are all really cool, really down to earth, like nicest guys in like they'll be walking through the shop and talk to you and all that sort of stuff. And the cars that I've been on, we've last year I was in a rotating driver car, so we had like 6 different drivers. Most teams you have one driver. We were the only full time car that had like multiple. But the guy who I'm working for this year, his name's Shane Van Gisbergen, and I'm going to be on the 88. He drove like the majority of the races on the 16 last year, and he's a super cool guy, like really chill. Talks to us before and after the race. He's really cool. So I'm really excited to be on his car. But all the drivers we have, like Daniel Suarez on the 99, like I said, he's like anybody he sees in the shop comes up to you, shakes your hand, asks you how you're doing, jokes around. Ross Chastain, same thing. So uh, I've in my experience with the drivers in our building, like I've had really good experience with, and they're cool dudes for sure.
And what are those guys like in terms of when it comes to race time? You've obviously been an athlete. You've been around athletes. It's unbelievably dangerous what they do. Like, what kind of like mentality do they take on when it's actually showtime?
So we're very separated from them on race day, except for our pre-race meeting, because they got to do like media, they got to do driver intros, they have a pre-race drivers meeting, like so they got to prep for all this other stuff, and then we'll meet in the hauler before, we'll have our team meeting, rah whatever, go out there, a game plan, and then go out there. So that's kind of like the only time we see the driver for the most part on race day is like right before he heads out to do his intro and then get in his car. Um, so they're doing all sorts of stuff while we're setting up pit boxes, we're getting our guns ready, we're stretching, doing all that kind of stuff. So we have way different routines because he's got to do different stuff than we do. So we don't really get to see them on game day as much. But I don't know. I can't really speak to like their mental like the things that they go through pre-race, but I know they do a lot of really cool stuff to get ready for the racetrack, like the simulators and all of the eye and agility stuff that they do is pretty cool. A lot of them are like long distance runners and like to run and all that sort of stuff.
Do you know guys that are like on? Would you interact with guys that are kind of in the same role as you, but for other cars?
Oh, for sure. Like we all know each other, just like you would in lacrosse. Like it's similar to any other sport. where you're under contract, and then you have, contract years, contract negotiations with other teams, and all based off of performance. So guys will come over from other teams. You'll go to another team. Guys will get released. All sorts of stuff like that. So just like in the NLL, how you bounce around and play with a bunch of different guys, like it's the same thing here. You pit with a bunch of different guys and go to different places and stuff like that.
Because I'm pretty sure is Davis Sampier, I think is how you say it. Like he's a high point guy. I think that does it as well. I'm not sure which team he's with or if you've interacted with him, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a guy. Like you said, there is a high point guy that I was aware of. He was at Stuart Haas, who just shut down.
Okay.
But I don't know him personally though. But I did hear that there was a lacrosse guy there.
Makes sense. What's it like? I mean, in terms of kind of like, obviously you're hearing the anthem before a game in the NLL. You maybe get that pit in your stomach. For you, is it like you get those same kind of nerves? And like, if so, is it like right before the race, or is it like right when you know someone's going to come change a tire? Like, how's that whole process work?
Yeah, I mean, the pre-race for NASCAR is pretty
Yeah.
electric. It's
It's
hard to
gotta be
not get like
great.
goosebumps. Like the flyover, the anthem. Like, I mean, we're going to be in Daytona 500 in 2 weeks, and I think there's something like 300,000 people there. It's like it's unbelievable. Like it's hard not to have the hair on the back of your neck stand up when the pre-race starts. So you feel the nerves and you feel the energy then, but then they come down as the race starts, and then once you're getting ready for that first stop, you usually know when it's going to be, or if there's a caution, and that's when the nerves start a little bit. And then I kind of have a process that I go through in my brain, and so as soon as I allow myself to like process those nerves, and I have a mantra that goes through once we're 10 away, and then my brain shuts off and I just let my body take over.
How many pits would there be? Is it like race dependent? Like how many times you guys banging out tire changes and shit like that, or is it kind of all different? Depends on the race.
Yeah, it's all different depending on racetracks. Like the car setups are different too. So like how pitable the car is and how fast you're going to be able to go, and how you change the tire is going to change depending on the setup of the car. So race by race, it's going to be different. And then like some races you'll do 3 pit stops, some races you'll do 14 or 15. It just kind of depends on the track. Like some races pit stops are like extremely important, and others they're not as important. Some you can definitely put yourself in position to win by having a good day on pit road, and then others they're not as big of an issue, but you can always lose the race on pit road, that's for sure. So it's important to be on your A game
Yeah.
every day, regardless of where you're at.
What's the training process like? Like, I mean, after you get that like call, are you like grinding in like school? Is there like a pit school, or how does that go?
So there actually is a pit school, but no, I mean, so there's guys that like, there's a combine for this and stuff. And there's guys that like after college football will go to like pit schools and train, and they try and like work their way up to like one of the big teams. So they'll start in like the lower levels and work their way up. I kind of skipped that, which a lot of like the um, football, like NFL players and stuff like that do. I went directly to a big team, so I didn't really like work up. I just went there, and then that's where I started my career, was learning like it at Trackhouse, as opposed to like going to a combine or a school and then working my way up to it.
That's crazy.
Have you been part of a win yet? And if so, what's that like?
Yeah, so I won my first ever race with Shane Van Gisbergen, the guy who's on his car this year. Again, that'll be the 88 for Trackhouse. His first ever race was the Chicago Street Race. So it was the very first ever Chicago Street Race, first street race in NASCAR. It's in downtown through the streets of Chicago. Unbelievable experience. Like that whole thing was cool, and then to win it was just like, man, it was like it's the coolest thing to ever happen in my like athletic career. I think like the two biggest accomplishments in my life, like that stick out, would be draft day and then that win. It was pretty insane.
What's the post game look like for a NASCAR victory?
So I mean, it varies, but I mean, we definitely had a couple beers. We fly home right after, so we were drinking all the way up to the plane, and then flew home. But we've had races where like one of our teams. So our team is based out of Nashville. Well, the like ownership and everything is based out of Nashville. Nashville, all the teams are based in Charlotte. Like every team operates here, and we all of us fly from Charlotte to wherever we're going.
Is that
Um,
sorry? Is that where you're
yeah,
living right now, Charlotte?
yeah, I live in Charlotte,
Oh,
North Carolina.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so literally every team is based out of Charlotte, North
Okay.
Carolina. Um, but yeah, our head office, like the higher ups, they're in Nashville. So we're sponsored by Tootsie's and Kid Rocks, and we won the Nashville race. So they actually chartered a plane for us. Like they kept our plane on the runway, and we didn't take off. We stayed an extra night and drank that place dry, and then flew up the
Oh,
next day.
that's
So,
unreal. Tootsie's is a terrible spot. Fuck.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Right?
What a bad place to shut down. Jesus.
Yeah,
I
for
don't know if
sure,
there's
for sure.
I don't know if there's a better sponsor in pro sports than
Yeah,
Tootsie's. That's
dude.
We got Busch Light too. Our
oh,
one car
yeah.
is sponsored by Busch Light. Our car is sponsored by Red Bull. So we got some pretty cool sponsors in the building for sure.
I was gonna more so like you mentioned the head office side of things. Is there, you know, in terms of kind of pathway that you see yourself, or maybe like a kind of, you seem like a pretty goal oriented guy. Is there like, you want to work up to like different ranks in the pit crew and then maybe eventually get your way into like the business side of this, or is it kind of, you want to stay with what you're doing now?
I mean, I really enjoy what I'm doing now. Like, I'm an athlete. I like to compete. Like, my goal is to, I'd love to win a championship, and I want to be the best rear changer on pit road. And I think I'm on my way to doing that. So, that's my goal first and foremost. And I want to do this as long as possible. I think I could do this for another 10 years if I keep taking care of my body. Like I said, I think my skill set and my abilities really cater towards what we do. And I think after that, I don't know, I wouldn't mind getting into coaching. I really like dealing with athletes, and I think my background and kind of the things that I've been through, I think I could really help younger guys or athletes making the transition into the sport, or trying to find their way in the world. So um, I would love to do that. I coached majority of my lacrosse career. It's something I don't do as much now, so I wouldn't mind getting into that field once I'm call it quits on the career.
Interesting, man. Yeah, I mean, we've walked through a lot of the stuff, but I mean, is there, from a maybe like a humble you kind of perspective in terms of the dangerousness of the sport, like, has there been any like holy shit moments that you've seen, whether it's like a bad accident or like, a close encounter while on pit road there?
Yeah. So there's, I mean, guys get hit all the time. Well, not all the time, but like pretty frequently, guys will get hit.
Thank God you were prepared for this from Rochester training camp, eh? Just
Yeah, seriously. Luckily, I haven't been hit yet. I've had some close calls, but I did see a guy get knocked out. It was a front changer. Two cars were coming in, both like the two stalls back to back. They're coming at the same time. Drivers didn't give each other enough space, slid through the box, nailed the front changer in the carrier, and he was knocked out on pit road with his trigger pulled. His gun was sparking as he was knocked out, just flying around on the ground. And the boys left him there, finished the right side tires. His buddy picked up the gun and changed the tire for him, and then they sent him on the way. And then they red flagged the race to make sure he was okay. They stopped
that
everything.
is so he's still snoozing. They take the gun from the KO'd guy, fix the tire. Hey, you can never be too quick on pit road. It's a non-forgiving
Oh
place.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I've got buddies that have been hit and flew over cars. Our gas man got hit by our own driver this year and fell over the wall. Like, yeah, there's always some fun stuff that happens. I mean, it is scary, obviously, and you don't want anyone to get hurt. But after it kind of happens, as long as it doesn't compromise your race, which hopefully it doesn't. You usually get pretty pissed off in the moment, especially if another driver hits you and kind of loses you a bunch of spots. But when you look back on it after, sometimes it's kind of funny. So
You see sometimes on Sports Center like drivers or pit crews getting into some dust ups behind the scenes. Have you seen anything like that or been involved in anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we see all of it, right? We're usually right there. I mean, we're kind of a no go. It's you got to let the drivers do their thing. You don't want to touch a driver. I do think it would be hilarious if there was a pit crew fight, but I know NASCAR doesn't want that to happen.
But if someone
Well,
touches your driver, then it's like lacrosse. Like
so I mean, there's like unwritten rules of it. I mean, I'm still kind of new in it, but from what I understand, it's like if another driver touches your driver, that's on them. You let them go. Someone who's not a driver touches your driver, you jump in, right? Let the drivers deal with the drivers. Let everyone else deal with everyone else. So you obviously go protect your driver and stand up for him, but you don't touch another driver. You let those guys sort it out.
That's it. That would mean it would be so funny if there's like you apply the same rules to lacrosse. Like you get a little dust up the next game or the next race you're going. Pauly's dressed as the pit crew. He's coming in just reinforcements on the first
Uh,
change.
the All Star race this year, it was who was it? Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch. One wrecked the other. I can't remember who. And for the All Star races, that's this old racetrack. That's why they had it there. And so you can't get out. So you're just sitting. You got to sit there and wait till the race is over. So I think it was either Rick. I can't remember which one was waiting for who, but someone was waiting for one of them, and they went back to the haulers. The pit crews got into it. Ricky Stenhouse's dad is jumping on Kyle Busch trying to get him. It was a mess, and it was so funny. But I kind of love that stuff. I think it's great. It's entertaining.
Yeah,
Obviously, they don't want us to be involved in them, but I think it'd be kind of fun.
yeah.
Oh, percent. Fuck
What's
that.
what's the next few races look like for you, or what is this, and what is the actual season of NASCAR?
Oh, the season of the grind. I mean, we're just starting to get going now. They had so last night was actually what's called the Clash. It's like a preseason race, and it was at a Winston-Salem State, which is just down the road here. It's got a lot of history in racing, and it's just a little exhibition race. There's no pit stops, so we don't have to do anything there, and it doesn't count towards any points. It just kind of get the fans going and get everything going. But we always start weekend after the Super Bowl, so it's Super Bowl and then Daytona 500 every year. So we got the Super Bowl next weekend, and then we got our first race of the year in Daytona, and then we go 9 months straight, 36 races in 37 weekends. So I don't get a lot of free time. I travel a lot, and then so it's from this year. We'll start next weekend, and then my last race will be the first weekend in November.
And I guess just like I'm trying to kind of picture off season and stuff. You mentioned it's a lot like lacrosse with like free agency and switching teams. For pit crews, is it like will you see multi-year deals, or is it like more wise out of you to have like a 1 year deal, have a great season, and then try and get offers from other teams?
Yeah, it's like multi-year deals, and then guys will have like option years in their contract, and they can bet on themselves and be like, I'm going to take the option and not resign. And yeah, I mean, you'll see multi-year deals. Sometimes you'll see 1 year deals, but you kind of get a mix of everything. So, and it's also dependent too on from team to team because there's no real CBA, there's no like union or any of that kind of stuff. So from team to team, they kind of handle it differently too, how they want to structure their contracts.
That's unreal. What
Interesting.
what's the travel like? Because races are they usually like Sunday or when are races? Are they kind of all over?
Yeah, there's Sunday. So the Cup Series is on Sunday. That's the top series. And there's Truck and Xfinity. The Truck Series is on Friday. So, they don't go every weekend. Then Xfinity, they don't go, they go most weekends, but not every weekend. They're on Saturday. So we'll fly in usually Saturday, and then the race is Sunday, and then we fly home Sunday night right after the race. So we have all of our planes. Teams fly out of a couple different airports. They're usually like smaller private airports. Ours is about an hour from here. That's where our planes are. So you go there, you hop on the plane, fly to the race, and then after the race is over, after we're done, we pack our pit box up, we bring it back to our hauler, get undressed, get our gear on, head to the plane, then we fly right back to Charlotte. You're usually getting home. Like if it's a West Coast race, sometimes you don't get in the door till like 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes you get in at like 1 or 12. So it's a grind on Sunday for sure.
And then what's the like right into? Are we kind of rolling into Monday like recovery day? Are we back in the gym? Like what's the midweek stuff look like?
Yeah, so in season it'll kind of look like this. Monday you'll get back from a Monday morning you'll get back from a race.
Yeah.
I'll go in at some point, usually 9. Sometimes I'll sleep in a little later and go in at 11. But it's really hard kind of to sleep after races, like especially with the travel and the flight. You're kind of just euchred anyways. Like you're not going to get good recovery. So I like to go in, I'll get a workout in, get the body moving, then I'll watch some film, and then after that I'll just go home, relax, kind of do any like maintenance I got to do with the house, all that kind of stuff, catch up on laundry, all that sort of stuff. And then Tuesday we'll be full go again. Tuesday morning we'll have practice, and then we'll have team workout, and then after team workout we'll have film as a team with our engineer, coaches, and then our crew chief and car chief. And then Wednesday you'll have practice and workout, and then Thursday you'll have practice and workout, and then Friday will be off for travel day, and then Saturday again will be travel day.
Fuck, man.
So
That's
yeah,
unreal.
it's you're living like, I mean, it's almost, obviously different than the NLL style. It's like you're going back to like the university days of like you're doing all the workouts together and stuff, and it's like you're 6, whatever, 6-7 days a week of including travel days and everything, right? So it's, do you think it helps that you kind of did live that schedule before? It's almost like you got a preview of it.
For sure. Like when I first got here, that's what I said to the boys. I was like, I feel like I'm back in college again. Like I just hang out with the boys all day. We work out together. We eat together. We, practice together. We watch film together, and then you're traveling together on the weekends. So you do spend like a ton of time together. So it really did feel like that a lot. And yeah, it was a pretty easy adjustment. I mean, in the thick of the season, like when you're getting to like month 6 and you haven't had a weekend to kind of decompress a little bit, it does it does wear on you a little bit. But I mean, we're pretty blessed to have the opportunity in the life we have. So sometimes you just need a little bit of perspective, and you get over it pretty quick. And once the off season hits, I usually go on a nice little vacation, and
Yeah.
makes it worth it. So.
Fuck, man. That's unreal. Who, when you guys are working out, you guys got a strength coach? Or you guys just fucking banging it out by yourselves, or like, what's that look like?
Yeah, so we have a strength coach, and then we also have a training program. So go ahead.
God, that's so sick. You got a strength coach too. This is the
Yeah.
big leagues, man. This is unreal.
Yeah, Pauly's
Yes.
starting to get the itch over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Pauly's starting to be like, I can have my driver's back.
Yeah.
I mean, this is.
There you go. There you go. Future Gasman or Jackman.
Yeah, there we go. Fucking right.
That's awesome.
But there's a guy who's like laying your workouts out for you and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, I used to be a personal trainer and worked a lot with athletes, so I like to. We train together as a team, like scheduled twice a week, but then we also have to get workouts on our own the other 2 days a week. And we do have programming for that, but I like to program a lot of my own stuff on the additional 2 days. But we do have workouts. Like we have an app on our phone that has our full schedule, and our workout programs are all in there, so you can track your weights and all that kind of stuff too.
What would be the average age of the guys on your team with you?
So my team's actually a little older. I'm 31. Our jackman is 26. Our front changer is 36. Our tire carrier is 33, and then our gas man is 36.
I say it's not looking good for me anymore. I'm 39. Fuck, it's not looking good for me. That's an old crew. Fuck.
We got a jackman who's 39, so he's still going strong.
All right, we'll see. Fuck.
The Jackman. That's what they called you in high school, Pauly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unreal, man. Well, this is awesome. This has been really intriguing to kind of find out like the intricacies of kind of what goes on, because you'll flip it on TV or whatever and just think it is what it is, but then there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. What do you think? I mean, outside that win, was there, obviously you won early, but was there a time that was like a holy shit, like when you're walking up the first time you see like 300,000 people there, was it just like, okay, this, don't fuck up? Like, did you ever get in your own head at all?
Oh yeah, I mean it was pretty surreal moment. I mean, my first race was the Daytona 500, which was insane. So yeah, probably the first half of my first season, like I started doing cup like right away. I came in as like a tire carrier, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you're really fast. We want you to be a tire changer." And then within 4 months, I was on a car after they put a gun in my hand for the first time. So I went out my first year and like I would black out. Like we have helmet cams and everything, like helmet camera. Everyone has a body cam, and then we have overhead cameras, and everything comes like right on the computer. We can see our stop time, our individual metrics, like everything. And for like the first half of the year, I would like black out and have to go back and watch my helmet camera to be like, what the hell happened? Because there's just like sensory overload. Like the cars are so loud. They're flying by on pit road. Like you're trying to pick your car out, and if it's like a caution or even everyone's coming in under green flag, you could have 36 cars coming down at once, bumper to bumper, and you're trying to figure out which one's yours, like by the color scheme, and they're flying by your face. And if you're not used to it, you're like, holy crap. And then there's a jump line, like you can't jump early, so you gotta pick your car out, make sure it jumps at the line. Then you could have other cars coming in at the same time you're trying to avoid. So it's my first year, it was like sensory overload. You're just like so many things you're trying to digest at once that like I would just black out. Like I would have like I said, I'd come back over and I'd be like, put that stop on, because I don't know what the hell just happened. Like I gotta break it down right now.
That's insane, man.
That's so sick, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's yeah, and again, I love like it's cool too. Like you think of the story of how you kind of got started. It's like you're watching Drive to Survive, and like you just start thinking about it and having that conversation. Like maybe I could do this, and then again, the fuck it text is an all time move. Like I'm in. Let's go. Sorry, Chugger. I'm going to fucking pit road, buddy. I'm jealous you got your jersey sent to you after you wrapped up. I don't know, Paul. I don't know if I can't speak for you, but I don't think that happened for me.
No.
Oh man. Good stuff. Well, I mean, Donnie, Pauly, you got anything else for Keels here before we let him go?
No, thanks, man.
No, man. This was unreal, and like not to like the lacrosse side of things was pretty cool too, dude. I didn't realize you went through all that stuff in lacrosse. I think the message you had in lacrosse was pretty cool, and then what you're doing now, man, like you say, I think it all kind of got you to where you are now, man. But it's always good to see someone fucking thriving after lacrosse, man. So this was super cool, man, and just fuck, man, best of luck. Keep killing it out there. This is awesome.
I appreciate it, boys. And if you ever want to go to a race, let me know. I got a lined up last year when we had a race in Vegas. Vegas had a game, so I got a bunch of boys passes. So you see the schedule, you got one you want to come to.
I was talking to some of them.
Always got my number
the other day. So yeah, I was actually just as we were talking, I was just looking up the Vegas NASCAR schedule. We gotta get out.
For sure.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
I've never.
For sure,
it's on the bucket list. I've never gone, but it's always something we've talked about going.
Yeah.
So
for sure, man. Like I said, look at the schedule. Fire me a text. I'll get you some passes, and you can rip around and check it out.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Love it.
Awesome, dude. Thanks, bro. This is amazing.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was JP Kealey again. Really fun one. Not our standard, but one that was definitely interesting, definitely fun. Forgot to mention, I went over to a comedy show, comedy bar on Friday night. Saw Lil Sasquatch, the Barstool guy.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
I saw you do that. Was it good?
Dude, it was fucking awesome. Like
I think he's
so
hilarious.
Funny.
Yeah, I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, so it was. I was in stitches the whole time, and like, there's another Barstool guy, like Barstool Mook or something, was the guy that like opened up for him.
Okay.
And he's like a ginger dude, and he like a lot of ginger jokes. Was like one of my favorite ones. He landed. I won't have the same delivery, but he was like, "Is there any guys who collect cards in here?" And like 3 or 4 guys like we're like, yeah, and he's like, all right, so you fuck just as much as I do or something, like just buried them, kind of a little self-buried, but yeah, I would recommend anybody that's, you see a show that I think it's Henry Settle or something is his actual name, but yeah, it was really good. I didn't realize he hasn't drank in a year, so he was on the 0.0s up there and just still putting on a clinic.
I actually have something to add from last episode, just clarifying. We were talking about that Man Cup story where Colin Doyle went into the goal. I actually talked to Brocky about that this weekend because he was in the game. And first of all, it was a double gear violation. So they called, I think, B. Miller on something I believe is with the gloves. And then the backup went in and they had the same illegal. So they called it and then they called it again on the backup. And he said, I asked what we were talking about. Why did he go in versus anyone else? And he goes, after the first one got called, like we were on the bench trying to figure out like who was going to go in. And all of a sudden he just came out in the gear. Like he saw his opportunity and he's like, I'm going for it. And he played, I think the whole third period or most of the third period, but kind of a legendary story there. So yeah.
That's great. It sounds like if he could do it all over again, he would probably just do it the same way, because learning from his adversity that he's gone through, and then led him to do what he's doing now. So
Maybe take the full year of rehab, not come back up. Dude, him coming back after 4 months rehab ACL, what an animal. But he wouldn't change that because he said he fucking was crushing it. So
yeah.
Anyway.
And just remember, people, keep your gear in the trunk. You never know.
Yeah, that's also very important. Other thing, I went to a little restaurant in Hamilton there, Le Tambour Tavern or something. Go try it out. Would recommend, Pauly. That's more for you for date night.
What is it?
It's like a French, almost like a French steakhouse.
Okay. Because we try and go to him. My Dory likes Hamilton. We've done the Mexican there. We've done Earth the Table or Bread Table. We've done a couple. That little street, it's actually banging for restaurants. I don't know.
It's really good. So we went, and if you go with a group of like 5 or 6, there's this table you can book. It's called the chef's table, and you're like basically in the kitchen, and he cooks all the food like on an open flame. So we got like a couple of steaks, and it was unbelievable. Like some of the best steak I've ever eaten. So worth it, but it's expensive, but it's fine.
Yeah,
like it's
for
reasonable. Sure. It's reasonable for like a nice steak.
Yeah, nice.
But,
so I was talking to my brother. I listened to this prank, so he's just like going do some pranks. So when he was living in Arizona, he lived with this guy, Noah Talbot from Victoria. Played a bunch of years in NLL. Great guy. Nicknamed Suker because he's from Souk, BC, but hilarious guy. So they had a appearance at like high school, maybe championship game, whatever. Suker's sleeping. My brother comes in. He's just like, fuck, I gotta get this guy. Draws the unibrow on him while he's sleeping. Permanent marker unibrows him. So walks out, and then the girl from the team's coming to pick them up. So my brother's like, hey. Like, I'm going to go wake up Suker, but don't say anything, but we're going to rush him out so he doesn't have time to, like, look in the mirror. Like, I'm going to tell him he, like, slept in. So she's like, okay. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, just don't look at him. Like, don't say anything. She's like, okay, fine. So he comes in, hey, Suker, we got to go, man. We're late. We got to go to this game. So he gets up. They jump in. Boom. Doesn't look at the mirror. They're in there. So they go to, like, drop the ball or do something. Newspapers. Boom. They're on the front page of like the sports. And Suker's got a full unibrow. So then it like comes out, and Bob Hamley was the GM and like coach at the time, calls my brother right away. Like, what the hell's going on? Why Suker got a unibrow on? Like, just said it was unreal. He had no idea till like it came out. So just another class.
That's fucking all time.
Yeah. That's I can't believe. Yeah, that would be a tough feeling after. Like, I guess it would be funny after you realize it, but you'd probably be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
But anything else we want to do to kind of cap things off here? Go watch some lacrosse. There's gonna be some lacrosse on. Donnie, come get your Springs, buddy. We gotta get
College Lacrosse show will be on. This will come up Friday. College Lacrosse show will already be out. Watch it before Saturday. And yeah.
Go get some Cottage Springs.
Is college in fall ball now? Like, are they started?
Yeah, they're full go. Yeah,
that was a confusing way to ask. Fall ball has it started?
Well, I don't know. Like, because this doesn't count, right? This is just kind of like.
No, they're going for real.
They've started
on. But does it count to your record?
Yep.
Yeah, we're in winter now, Paul.
Yeah, we're in spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. We once when I was at High Point, we once played our first game January 31st.
Yeah, I guess it's not the fall. I guess this is the okay. Nice. All right. Yes, I guess this makes
Dad
sense.
life.
All right. Well,
Oh,
college,
Yep.
go away. The season started, guys. Go watch Cottage Springs.
yeah, and go get some springs. And Donnie, great job on that show. I listened to it. Listened to the whole thing.
Thanks, man.
Pauly, bullshit. He didn't shout out University of Windsor, and he talked High Point, and I forget what you said, but you said something about the history of the program and Asher Nolting, and then I was kind of pissed. So, anyways, let's not make it about me. We appreciate you guys listening. That's episode 133. Back of the Bird. Go get some Cottage Springs. They're not getting removed from the LCBO.
No terror.
No
No
terror.
terror. Things. See ya.